There's a phase in neuropathy where you can't tell if things are improving or going in the wrong direction. And that uncertainty is where people get stuck. Because when you don't understand what you're feeling, every change feels like a question mark. Things feel different, maybe even a little uncomfortable or more painful than before. And your first thought is, great, now it's getting worse. So you second guess everything. You wonder if what you're doing is actually working or if you've just wasted more time. Here's the reality. Some of the clear signs your neuropathy is improving feels confusing. They don't feel like a big win. They don't feel like a finish line. They just feel different. And if you don't know what you're looking at, it's very easy to misread progress as a problem. So in this video, we're going to walk through 5 signs that your neuropathy is actually improving, so you can recognize when things are moving in the right direction, even when it doesn't feel obvious yet. I'm Dr. Smith with the Neuropathy Doctors, and along with my wife and fellow neuropathy specialist, Dr. Irvin, we've helped thousands of people across the world improve their neuropathy since 2009 by focusing on how nerves actually recover instead of chasing short-term symptom relief. One of the first things we teach our clients is this: if you don't understand what progress looks like, you can be improving and still feel stuck. So let's dive in. Sign number 1 that your neuropathy is improving is that your symptoms are changing. Not gone, not perfect, but changing. And this is where almost everyone gets tripped up, because people expect healing to be clean and predictable. Less pain, less tingling, less numbness, like turning down a volume knob. But nerve recovery doesn't work like a dimmer switch. It works more like a reconnection process. Signals start coming back online, but they're not perfectly organized yet. So what you feel is burning turning into tingling, tingling turning into a different kind of numbness, numbness turning into sensitivity, or a foot that felt completely dead before suddenly feels active. And let's be honest, that active feeling can be annoying and sometimes downright painful. Listen to the way Howard described it.
I start to feel my feet. I'm not saying, sometimes they hurt more. But you can actually feel the feet like it's hurt instead of just feeling like it's a stump down there hurting.
But here's the shift. A nerve that feels nothing is disconnected. A nerve that feels something, even if it's messy, inconsistent, or more painful in the short term, is trying to communicate again. That's what you're feeling. It's not polished yet, it's not efficient yet, but it is active. And that's a very different situation than dead. So if your symptoms are changing, getting harder to describe, shifting in ways that don't follow a clean pattern, that's often a sign that something positive is happening under the surface. The second sign is that you're noticing sensations that you haven't felt in a long time. And this one tends to sneak up on people. It's not dramatic. It shows up in small, almost forgettable moments. You step onto the floor and pause because something just feels different. You notice your sock more than usual. You become aware of pressure in your foot instead of just assuming it's there. And at first, it's easy to brush off. But over time, you start realizing, I didn't used to notice this. And that realization matters because most people don't realize how much sensation they've actually lost until it starts coming back. As a matter of fact, we'll experience this very thing.
But when I had my socks off that I normally wear, I was rubbing my feet on the floor and I could feel the carpet with my feet. That was really cool because I haven't felt that for 20 years.
And here's another important piece. Returning sensation doesn't always feel normal right away. It can feel uneven, stronger in certain spots, a little exaggerated, almost like your nervous system is recalibrating, which it is. Think about it. If something's been offline for a time, when it comes back online, it doesn't immediately operate smoothly. There's an adjustment period. So if you're noticing new sensations or maybe even old familiar sensations that you just haven't had in a while, even if they feel a little strange, that's often your nervous system reconnecting. And reconnecting is a prerequisite for real improvement. Sign number 3 is one most people completely overlook. Your balance is improving on its own. Not because you've been doing balance exercises or actively trying to improve it. And it often happens quietly. You're walking and realize you didn't reach for the wall. You stand up and feel more stable. You turn and it doesn't feel as awkward. And you don't even think twice about it. But that's a big deal because neuropathy isn't just about sensation. It's about positioning. Your brain relies on nerve input from your feet to understand where your body is in space. When that signal is weak or distorted, you compensate. You look down, you move slower, you hesitate. So when your balance improves, what that tells us is the communication between your feet and your brain is getting clearer, even if your symptoms haven't fully changed yet. And this is where people miss progress. They're waiting for no tingling, no numbness. Meanwhile, they're walking better, they're standing better, moving better, and completely ignoring it. That's like saying your phone isn't working while you're texting someone about it. So if your balance is improving, even subtly, that's one of the strongest functional signs that things are actually moving in the right direction for you. Sign number 4, your bad days aren't as bad, even if they still happen. This is where a lot of people stay consistent or give up. Now, this requires a shift in how you actually measure progress, because most people are looking for that linear experience, good days only, steady improvement, no flare-ups. But real progress with neuropathy doesn't look like that. It looks uneven. What actually changes is the intensity of your worst days is less. The duration of your flare-ups is shorter. How quickly you recover is faster. So instead of asking, did I have a bad day? A better question is, how does this compare to before? Because what we see over and over is this. What used to ruin an entire day becomes something that fades in a few hours. What used to feel overwhelming becomes manageable. And eventually, what used to be frequent becomes occasional. That's progress. It's just not obvious. And let's be honest, it's easy to ignore subtle improvement and obsess over one rough day. We've all done that. One bad night and suddenly it feels like nothing is working. But if you zoom out and you look at the pattern instead of the moment, you'll often see that things are trending in the right direction. Now, this last one might be the clearest sign of all, but people don't pick up on it. Sign number 5 is that your symptoms are retreating. They're shrinking in location. Instead of spreading, they're pulling back. You might notice symptoms that used to reach your knees, now they're mostly in your ankles or your feet. What used to affect your entire foot is now more concentrated in your toes. It used to feel widespread, but now it's much more specific. And this matters more than most people realize. You don't want to fall into the symptoms present or symptoms absent trap, because neuropathy tends to follow a pattern as it progressively gets worse. It moves outward, but when things improve, that very pattern often reverses. Quite literally, listen to the way Rick and Mike describe their retreating symptoms.
Of course, the numbness has declined. Instead of from being right below the knee, when I first started coming here, it's down closer to my ankle.
My feet were all numb, totally numb. I couldn't feel anything on the bottom of my feet at all. Now it's just at my toes. It's a little bit numb.
And here's what makes this tricky. The intensity might feel similar, so people think nothing has changed. But if the area is getting smaller, if the progression is reversing, that's a big deal, because it means that the nerves are healing in a progressive manner that's actually positive rather than the opposite. And that's a very different trajectory than something that's spreading and taking over your legs. So if your symptoms are pulling back, even gradually, moving from the knees to the ankles, from the ankles to the feet, from the feet to the toes, or from all of the toes to just the tips, or just towards the big toe, that's one of the strongest indicators that things are heading in the right direction. So if you're watching this and thinking, some of this sounds familiar, but I'm not exactly sure what to do next, that's exactly why we created a free training called the 90-Day Reset Method. Inside that training, we walk you through the exact system that we use with our clients to help improve neuropathy from home in a structured, step-by-step way, so you're not guessing anymore or just piecing things together. If you want to see what that looks like, you can register using the link in the description. And if you're at the point where you're ready for guidance, ready to follow a clear plan, you can also apply to work with us directly, just like Rick and Howard and Will and Mike did. That option is there for people who want structure and a proven path forward. If that's you, you can apply to work with us using the link in the description. No pressure, but if that makes sense for you, it's there. When you know what to look for, progress becomes a lot easier to recognize and a lot harder to overlook, because with neuropathy, improvement doesn't always show up in big obvious ways. It shows up in small shifts, subtle changes, moments that are easy to dismiss if you're not paying attention. And if you don't understand what those moments mean, it's it's very easy to assume nothing is working, when in reality, things may already be moving in the right direction. So instead of looking for perfect, start looking for patterns, changes, trends, small wins that are starting to stack up over time, because that's how real progress happens. Not all at once, but step by step, often in ways that only make sense once you know what to look for. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.